And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afterparty Green Room with Darren Ingram.
Hey, everybody. What an amazing show we just had. A lot of tremendous performances, including some of the surprise things that people I hadn't even seen before. Unbelievable show. And thank you so much for joining us tonight for the after party. Now, here's how this is going to work. We're going to bring on the madness that is performers into one screen for everybody. And then we're going to start having some real candid conversations, things you typically wouldn't get to see unless you stayed up with us until 3 in the morning on Halloween. So if we could, I won't introduce everybody because you all know their names, but if anybody who is here wants to kick on their cameras, feel free to do so now. Oh, look at that, Wendy Walker. Mr. Paul Carganella, one of my favorite faces of all time. Caitlin and Hunter and Wolfgang and David. And I said I wasn't going to introduce anybody, but I will, except for Scott. Mary, Sam, Stephanie, Craig, Todd, Amanda, Mike without Nicole, but Nicole is listed as well as Dari. And I still didn't introduce Scott. So welcome, everybody. What we're going to do is, he's so sad. He's so sad. It makes me happy. It feeds my soul. What we're going to do is we're going to just chat. We'll chat a little bit about the show. We'll chat a little bit about life. We'll chat a little bit about, theater and performing and all that good stuff. Pretty much a round robin of all sorts of conversations. I will start right now with a round robin of favorite moment of the night tonight, except for yourself. Oh, now go through it in your head. What was your favorite moment tonight, except for yourself? And now all the performers have to go, okay, fine, it wasn't. Wendy Walker is first.
I had to unmute Caitlin.
Caitlin, which part?
When just her intro, you could tell she was a little nervous, and then she sang the beautiful song, and it got me.
That was one of those things where it's something that is so hard to capture, which is authenticity. It is so hard to capture that if you've done the show or you've done a performance 100,000 times. And Caitlin's, like you said, her performance and especially the conversation before was just real.
Yeah.
It's just a realness. And Caitlin's like, why are you guys doing this? I'm going to start crying again. I don't want to cry.
It was really, really great.
Yeah,
and like you said, just absolutely real. But everyone was so great tonight. I was messaging Caitlin and I was like, I think tonight might be my favorite of all time.
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of your fan club. I do everything I can to be in your fan club. So somebody else, I will pick on Sam because Sam doesn't get to chat as much in the other show. So Sam, go ahead and unmute. Technology, man. Technology. No, I can't hear you because you're muted. You're still muted. Yeah.
I pushed the space bar. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I was holding down the space bar the whole time.
Wait a second. That's my favorite moment of the night. I just want you to know you just nailed it. I appreciate you.
I liked all of the acts the same because everybody out, but there's a but, because everybody put so much hard work into it. And I have the pleasure and the honor of being involved in a lot of the hard work that people put into it before the actual show to make sure that it's polished and ready. So, I mean, every act was amazing. Seeing the meet and greets and the highs from all of the other people who did the Happy Birthday Audacity video, having been involved in a lot of their acts as well. That really made me cry. Just seeing, 60, 70, 80 people that we've had on this show in the last 50 episodes and all the effort that everyone's put in. But the real highlight for me is just the birthday itself and everybody being together and putting their best foot forward tonight. Everybody killed it.
Yeah. And Sam, I want to stay with you for a sec because you've been here from the beginning. Obviously, you talked about that at the very beginning of the show.
Yeah. Episode 21. We had no clue what we were doing.
So what's different? What's different today, a year later? How have you grown the show, not just from like performers and such, but technology and all of that?
It's night and day. We started with literally cell phone cameras and a Facebook account and, just grassroots marketing to our close friends and friends of friends to getting on to realizing, hey, Facebook said we had 5,800 people watch. But what really happened is if you scroll down your feed and that video plays for 1/10 of a second, that counts as a view. And so, we really just had like 100 people watch, not 5,000. We need to go somewhere else. And taking it from Facebook to YouTube to where we can actually grow the channel. And now we have 1,432 subscribers last time I looked. Absolutely incredible. And seeing people tune in the hundreds to these shows legitimately and watching 75% of them. I just couldn't be more proud. And then from Paul and myself on a personal level, just learning the tech, upgrading computers, getting Stream Decks where we can push 13 buttons at the same time to make this look like an actual show instead of a Zoom meeting. That took a lot of patience and learning and effort. So but here we are today, and it looks pretty darn good, and I think it showcases the talent that we have on the show. So, hell yeah to that.
I think a lot of people don't quite understand how much effort it takes from your part, from Paul's part, Craig, and everybody else behind the scenes to make us performers look so great. And my question over to Paul: did you know any of this stuff before you started? Like, genuinely, like was this like in your wheelhouse, this online stuff?
None of it. In fact, I'm trying to play with it now because I know everybody can only see one person at a time.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just messing around because Sam's not running the thing, so I'm trying to run the thing. No, I had done Zoom meetings because of work, but I had done a live YouTube thing years ago, which was a debate tournament on Google. It was called Google something else. It was something different. And I thought, let's try the show on that. And Sam was like, hey, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, Google Hangouts. It's like, come on, pal, what's been going on?
That's it. And so I had experience with that. And then Sam was like, you can stream a Zoom meeting to Facebook. And so we tried that, but we had no idea like all of the different tech things involved with everything that made a show look like a show and not a meeting. And then, of course, the stumbling blocks along the way. Sam has, from the very beginning, me as a creature of habit and knowing like what I like to do, Sam has been the one who says, hey, we need to go and do this. And I go, I don't like that. That's uncomfortable. And he goes, okay, but it would be really good for us. And I go, all right, let's try it. And so he was responsible for the move from Facebook to YouTube. And then the move to OBS, which is whatever fun thing that he does that makes everything look amazing and sound amazing and puts us out there in HD. All along the way, I'm saying, no, Sam, no, dude, that's too hard. No. And he's just dragging my ass through
Every
it.
change was a little mini fight. Just come on. It'll be great. Try it.
Come on, just do it. And that, like, if it weren't for Sam, we wouldn't be looking and sounding as great as we do today.
There's some irony to that, in that every single person I've heard you talk to, Paul, you've said, try new things. Hey, come out, try new things.
He's like Caitlin. He'll talk the talk, but then you have to remind him, hey, let's go look in the mirror for a minute.
He's like, why are you calling me out, man? And Stephanie, you've been here since, this is the year anniversary of Quarantine with Friends, right? So what's changed from the beginning to the end? How has it evolved over the last year?
Everything. Literally everything.
Sam just face-palmed. Sam just full-on face-palmed just now.
I can't imagine why. No, it's literally everything. Am I distorting? I don't know what's happening with my...
You're good.
I messed it up, Sam. Sam came over and taught me the technology because I've had the learning curve too, where it's like I didn't have a mixer and I bought one, and it's we've all had this like insane learning curve of figuring out how to do this thing, and like Sam has been such a gift. Do you remember, Sam, like when we started doing this and like just the debacle of sorting out original sound in and of itself took us all like 7 episodes, right, guys? Like, right?
Original sound took a week off my life, maybe 2 weeks off my life for sure.
It gave us all a baby aneurysm for like the first several episodes that we like were doing this because we couldn't figure out the Zoom settings. Like that alone.
Not even that.
Guys, was like 3 episodes.
Your first episode was on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, and nobody could hear anything.
Yep. because I was like, I just want to be friends with everybody and like say hi and like make people laugh, like because I don't know how to do that, you know, I don't know how to technology. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Well, and how many of us, myself included, I know I did this. So, Sam, I'm going to give you credit now when I never did before. But how many of us in other situations post that week went to other people and was like, dude, totally turn off original sound. What's wrong with you? Just click the thing. It's supposed to say turn. And you're acting like you're the one that came up with that and you researched everything when in fact it was Sam that told you how to do it.
I'll be
Is it
honest,
just
I've
me?
never done it.
Oh, you haven't?
I've been like, I know nothing. But here's Sam's number. And Sam's like, stop giving people my number. Like, hey.
Yes, I definitely did another concert series, and they do rehearsals with a bunch of people. So instead of doing a sound check like we do for just a few minutes, it's a whole rehearsal with, 6 people, and you sing your whole song. And I got on, and I was like, they're like, well, what's wrong with this sound? And I was like, well, is your original sound on? Do you have your high fidelity check? Do you have... And they were like, oh, wow, how do you know all of this?
Because I'm just smart. Because I know stuff.
No, I'm just good.
Yeah, I just know
No,
stuff.
it's all Sam. When I got my stuff, I know I had to Zoom with Sam, I think twice. I was like, I don't understand what's happening right now.
So, question for the performers in the room, which is all of us. This online forum, going from live to this, and I'll just, I see a lot of nodding heads. This is not easy. This is just not easy. This is hard. And for the audience that hasn't been on stage, you'd think, oh, I would never go on stage. That seems so hard. And yet this for me is so much harder. It is so much harder. So I'll pick on Hunter for a second. Because Hunter, you do some interesting things with your performances as it is, where you're playing against yourself in the background. You're creating a live show and a live band using yourself, which is brilliant and wonderful. But how was that sort of performance transition when you get the feedback from the audience and the energy from the room? Because, I'll call it out. You are both a spiritual and a passionate performer. I love that about you. So not being able to get that feedback, how's that been?
One of the strangest points of calibration really early on was the first, 10, 16 Lovecasts or so. I couldn't get this mic to interface properly with the computer, so I was literally just using the built-in microphone from my MacBook here. And so the strangest thing is I'm in this pretty big single room, and you don't know how far to project. And that was a weird thing I've never had so much trouble calibrating that, because you know what it's like in a huge theater versus in a little tiny coffee shop. You're singing big or you're singing small or whatever. And that took a lot of shows to get used to. Once I had a microphone here and I can actually like direct energy at a microphone, that was a big difference. But the other side of that coin is the chat. Because you're in the middle of a song, you don't want to be like raw and exposed. You don't want to be doing like what Caitlin did tonight, and then look down and see the chat and have it just completely pull you out of it and wreck the entire moment. But every now and then there are technical snafus, and like 8 people are in the chat saying, "We can't hear you. We can stop. You're singing it. We can't. No sound." And so you gotta look. But you can't pay too much attention. It's this weird split schizophrenic kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the lack of an elephant in the room, where like, okay, it doesn't feel like there's anybody here, but looking down at the counter, there's 60 people watching the show right now. But you can't pay too much attention to the numbers either, because every now and then there'll be like an internet glitch and 15 people will simultaneously lose the feed. Your number will plummet, and inside you're going, did I just fuck up that song? Do they hate it? Did I alienate like everybody? Did I just like, I mean, what the hell did I just do? And you can't read too much into any of it, but at the same time, there's that split brain thing where you got to pay attention to all the details.
Yeah, there was a moment last night where my number went way up and then way back down again, and I literally retaped in my head, oh crap, what did I say? I must have said something terrible. Oh, they must really hate me. Oh my God.
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, I should just stop singing now. I'm just gonna turn my song off. I'm just gonna shut my camera off.
I'm gonna hit mute and just shut it down. This is terrible. So Todd, flip side of that, Todd, I mean, you're on doing. I mean, you've done some numbers which have been amazing, right?
Thank you.
Some of the videos that you've put in, but I mean, the improv, right? Doing
You know what?
improv.
It's not even just the improv. I came into this whole game doing stand-up
Ooh.
comedy. That was all I did. I only did stand-up. I'd never even really done improv hardly at all. I'd done some at work, had a few, workshops and whatnot. But when we did the first couple shows and do my comedy, which, a singer can at least start a song, sing a song, song's over, and then it's just sort of dead air. Did I do good? Are they clapping? But, stand-up is almost impossible. I mean, I can Chicken Cross Road, get to the other side.
He's gonna have a wishy-wishy moment any second.
I hope, but it's like that. The whole point of stand-up is a call and response. It's just, I'm going to tell this funny joke, and you're going to go. I mean, if nobody's laughing, that's when a comic is just dying on stage. So it's like you're dying every single performance because I don't know if it's funny. I hope it's funny, but there's no way to tell.
Well, and there's technique that a lot of people don't understand. There's technique to stand-up comedy and comedy in general of writing the laugh, of getting the rhythm of their laugh. So knowing that they're short laugh crowd, so let's get that next joke right away. Or they're a crowd that wants to be involved, so maybe I'll freestyle a little bit in between the jokes rather than go straight to like. There's a give and take. And to your point,
well, I mean, if you look at some of the big comics, I mean, they always bring like drinks out on stage, and then they'll do a joke, and they know there's going to be laughter. And during that laughter, they pick up a bottle, they take a drink, set it back down. A comedian is tanking when he goes for that drink, and it's just silence in the room. It's like people are supposed to be laughing right then, and so that's just
and the bottle's shaking in his hand. Oh God! Please laugh.
How about that airplane food, huh? And so it's that part of it has kind of vanished. I mean, Dylan and I both used to do stand up all the time, and then eventually we were just like, I'm just not getting it. I'm not getting anything out of this. I wouldn't mind doing it, but for this format, it's a beast.
Yeah. I think, it's funny. My favorite moments in this show are when Paul has broken. and not because it's Paul or any of that, not to break Paul. That should be its own show itself. But because, again, there's that feedback. Oh, we finally did something, and I saw a response.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I saw a response, and I felt the energy from somebody change because of something that I did. And that's super hard. I mean, on the flip side, Amanda, you're constantly doing powerful songs. Like I'm going to try to rip the shutters down off the windows to try to get this song out of my face, or face hole, as it were. And again, there's no applause. There's nothing. It's empty air except for us quietly applauding in our video. What's that like for you as opposed to being on that stage?
Right. Yeah. You miss it. Definitely. That live aspect and not just the clapping, but like, you can always see people and connect in that way. And it's tough. One, having castmates pop on is just amazing. Every time I see one person pop on after my song, I'm like, yay. But it's also taught me a lot. Hopefully I'm loud enough. It's also taught me a lot about finding the joy in myself in doing it. You know, I think that became doubly important, you know, because an audience helps you to feel that. But then now, like I said, I'm learning to feel that in myself, and that becomes the most important thing to me. The applause is just kind of extra and it adds to it. And I think that's kind of a reason that I've really been enjoying some of these powerhouse songs, because all of these feelings and emotion, and they just like fly out as I'm singing, like with those notes. And so yeah.
Well, and I think something that all of us performers have not had to do, which I would find to be the hardest thing possible to do, is what Dari does. I mean, talk about somebody who says, I do this thing and I do it very, very well, and I'm just going to showcase it without a class in front of you, without that sense of, you know, you see somebody in the back who's just sort of half-ass in the Zumba, and you want to pump that person up and you want to get them going, or you see the person in front who's the soccer mom, she's like, I'm Zumbaing, I don't even know if I'm doing it right. You know, you don't get that at all. So, I mean, if we can, just a big, I mean, as much as I can for you, because that's some next level stuff, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that is some next level stuff. I think what we owe Dari, Paul, I think what we owe Dari is a musical dance number. I think we owe her that. I'm just saying, we got to pick a musical theater song.
I have one in mind.
See, I knew she would. I knew she would. So
yeah,
we owe her that.
Arnold's on Halloween. You didn't like that one?
I love
when
that
we
one.
did Jump in the Line, that was awesome.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true. I'm thinking like,
But like
you know,
whole cast.
Yeah, like a whole cast, choreographed.
Yes.
A little bit more than just the hip swivel that Paul had us do on that one song, which I loved.
Oh yeah, I love that too. You know, it's been last year, you know, all the gyms closed and stuff, and trying to like help our students, like as a Zumba instructor, try to help our students like somehow keep working, because like my students, I love my students so much. You know, I've had students follow me from the first place I ever taught up to date. You know, they've been following me, and like I've really connected with them. They're like my family, you know, like the Zumba family. And so, and they're older people, so they don't want to do the online thing. And so they were able to find a way to do it outside with other instructors, but they still were able to come back when the gyms opened in June. And I was like, and I just started teaching only 2 classes so far. I got back last week, and like I was almost gonna cry. They almost cried. And just like, I always pitch them when I do online stuff. Every time I'm doing a song for Polly's Picnic, I'm picturing my students, and now all of the our T family, our Polly's Picnic community, our audience, I picture them like they're there. So I'm like trying to like, yeah, see you, Paul. I see you. As I'm
Paul, are you in her class, Paul?
In her mind, yes.
Yes, in here. Maybe one day Paul will come to a Zumba class.
I'll go. If Paul shows up, I'll show up. Scott, are you in? You're in? All right. So me, Paul, and Scott. Anybody else? I'm doing it right now. Anybody else going to show up to Dari's Zumba class when we can?
Yeah, I could get a few people in for free at the gym I go to.
100%. 100%.
See?
Yeah.
We'll all show up. It will not be pretty from my part. I just want you to know that.
Well, and that's what's great is as long as you're moving, you're doing right. There's no judgment.
I think that's the part that might not go so well, is the whole moving. There might be just on the floor with oxygen and an IV of Dr. Pepper. So just be aware that may happen. So Scott, we were talking about audio woes, and I thought of you. I don't know why, but you know, the love came your direction. Now you and Mary, and more Mary than you, I'm kidding. You and Mary have something really, really cool that a lot of us don't have, which is somebody to play off of.
Yeah. So here's the most magnificent thing ever is that I got back in doing musical theater, and I just lost her. And you know, the strangest thing happened. I was doing a musical, and this perfection was there, and we hit it off, and we were both dancing and whatnot. We ended up going straight into being a married couple in the next musical, and then she made me move in with her. So
Is that just due to the cooking? Do you think that's why you're there?
Well, I do the cooking.
That's what I mean.
He's more of the cook than I am.
That's what I'm saying. Is that why you're there? Is that why she brought you in? It's like, hey,
that's why she keeps me around.
Is that it?
I cook, I clean. Hey, what? Well, no.
I have 4 jobs. I needed a chef.
That's it. That's it. And I did see you guys in that one show that I came out, Matilda, which was absolutely amazing, and you both were brilliant at that.
Thank you, my friend.
Mary, you actually have an array of things that you do in your life, because I've seen you do radio shows, and you sing, and you do comedy, and you do heavy dramas. You are like an uber threat on all the things. But even outside of that, you teach languages, and I mean, are there things you can't do? Is probably a better question.
There are I'm actually a decent cook. He just does it. Yeah, I mean, there are so many things I can't do. I can't do math to save my life. And what's interesting is I am a learning disabled artist. So my brain creatively works in magnificent ways, but in academia, it's a lot more difficult. So for instance, if I'm creative writing, I've been writing children's books throughout quarantine. It's easy for me to creative write, but if you ask me to write a book report or something like that, it's insanely difficult for me because essentially in my brain, I have like a short. And so my brain will work. Oh, whoa. There we go. It'll work and then it'll just stop. And then I have to like learn how to recollect my thoughts. So it's kind of difficult, which learning lines, that is not my strong suit when it comes to theater and performing. But I love the emotion aspect of it and that sort of thing. So it's it's a balance of learning how to do things just a little bit differently. But I thank you for your kindness. I like to wear many hats.
And just to interject, I do have a learning disabled as well, but it comes with how to use and properly make a microphone work with my crazy vocal. Sorry, Sam, I love you.
You are Sam's favorite person in the show. I can definitely tell you that. But Mary, I'm going to talk about something slightly different. Auditioning.
Yeah.
How that has to have made that very challenging. Cold reads is what I'm thinking specifically.
Cold reads are very difficult for me because I can read in my head fine, but when I have to read out loud, I tend to stutter. So it's always so beneficial to me when I can see it beforehand and kind of get to know it a bit and the rhythm of a sentence. But yeah, if it's like just given to me and then I'm supposed to read it, I'm like, this is in Greek. This makes no sense. And partially that's because of my nerves, because I know that this will be a struggle for me. But it has gotten better over time. So it's interesting, like in my early 20s, I feel like a lot of things, like I'm super late bloomer with like even academia, and a lot of things blossomed over time. And I think a lot of that is my frontal lobe closing and, that type of thing. But yes, for cold reads and that type of thing. And sometimes even like, I feel like I take direction okay, but sometimes it takes a minute for me to like my brain to adapt to the direction. It's like I hear it, I understand what's going to happen, but it might take me a little bit longer. Same with choreography. I'm actually a pretty decent dancer, but the memorization of it takes me a little bit longer.
Almost as if the organization of the content itself needs time to process.
Yeah. And it's like I have to practice more than someone probably who doesn't have a disability. But when I am there and I can execute it, I do it pretty well.
And I think you're perfect.
Thank you. I love you.
Okay, so before I throw up, I will go to one of the other couples. Mike, Nicole's not there with you, but you two also have that rare ability to live perform. So I'm going to ask you kind of a question. I may throw this out to everybody. What's your process for either picking a song when it's both of you guys going after it, right? You've got a song and you don't know it, or it's an idea. Like, what's the process for picking a song for Paul so that Paul doesn't get mad that you picked the wrong song?
Well, I mean, it just kind of comes naturally, I guess, for both of us. I think when we first met, we really bonded over just common interests and musicians. So ever since the beginning of kind of our relationship, we've just had common artists that we've liked, and we like to play a lot of the same type of music. So for us, it's just kind of a little bit, I think it's just kind of easy to pick a song, because I mean, she'll pick a song and I love all the artists that she's into. She really likes, folk music or like Joni Mitchell, Linda Ronstadt type songs, and I'm totally into that too. And then the same thing for me if I pick something that she's just into it too. So I mean, it's been awesome, definitely, like you said, just having someone to play off of. And that's not even just a COVID thing, it's just kind of part of our relationship, I guess, just having someone else to jam with all the time. It's been great.
It's so cool. One of the things that I always wonder, and this goes for just about everybody that's in this show, what have you guys been doing? Because you guys are brilliant together. You put out tremendous music. Do you have a site? Do you have music that you've put out?
So Nicole has a YouTube channel called The Blue Bus on YouTube. She's had that since long before I met her, and she records cover songs, and she's not been so active on it, I would say, over the last 5 years, but she maybe puts 2-3 songs a year on it. That's it. But since we met, we've done open mics and things like that together. And other than that, I mean, we just like to play with friends. We just like jamming at home. And my favorite thing since I've started playing guitar is just kind of doing sing-along songs and just playing songs that we can all have some drinks and sing along to and get an acoustic guitar. So this has been awesome because it's kind of just like what I've loved doing. It's just hanging out with a bunch of friends, and we're all just playing songs and kind of, hanging out together. So,
see, Paul, this is why we need to record an album. Just got to get in a studio at some point.
Yeah, we've been talking. Excuse me.
Don't get choked up, man. Don't get all choked up.
A few months ago, you presented that idea to me, and I think it's a great idea to just grab any members of the Vodacity cast who are writing songs or may want to write a song for an original Vodacity mixtape album, and then we could release that and have a big virtual release party or real actual release party. That would be a lot of fun. Just release like a 10 or 12 song album filled with originals from Vodacity cast members.
This is such a talented group. There's, the ability in this group is just endless. And speaking of which, the man at the piano, I think I speak for everybody here that your ability to work those keys is unbelievable.
Thank you.
And it's kind of, your ability to play, from just hearing you and hearing the way that you talk about things, is rivaled only by your intellect. You seem to be an extremely intelligent human being.
Well, thank you.
But was piano like the thing for you? Because you also sing and you clearly make puppets and.
That has been actually the puppet making has been one of the most fun side projects I've made. I think I said earlier tonight, like 30 of these guys, and a whole bunch of them have been just different characters. They have morphed the Yip Yips into various things. My sister studied a French painter. She has her art history PhD on studying this French painter. So I made a Yip Yip version of the painter, and I did a Yip Yip version of one of his most famous paintings. And it was one of the most fun Christmas surprises I've ever done for somebody. But anyhow, what was the question?
Why are you so smart?
You're asking about piano. So
Yeah.
Piano is my first love. It is, absolutely. I consider myself a pianist first and everything else second. Although in terms of actual performing, I was in the chorus in college. I was in the chamber singers group in college. So, and then I participated in a lot of alumni choral events where they invited choral alumni back to do big concerts. So I've done stuff from where I'm one of 4 or 5, maybe 6 singers on stage to I'm one of 300 people on stage with a full orchestra, and it's a phenomenally incredible experience, being able to do that. And so and I've sung with a chorus down here in Southern California for the last 14 years, and that's where my on stage performing experience has been. Piano is just something I've just done at home. I've written my own pieces. I've performed a bunch of them on the show. And it's just something I've done for me. So it's been kind of interesting because in a way, this pandemic, the lockdown, finding this variety show through, Amanda finding it has been liberating. Mm-hmm. I'm able to share a lot of the stuff I've done in a way I've never been able to before. And it's been fantastic. I was seeing in the chat tonight, some people want me to do an hour show of piano music. And I'm like, well, that would be fun for me. I'd want to dive into maybe some music theory stuff too. I don't know if it'd be fun for anybody else, but it'd be fun for me.
Well, and you have the ability to do something that has always been a regret of mine. You could walk into a piano bar, sit down, and just put on a show.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's been a long time since I last really tried to do it, but I do enjoy improvising at the piano, and just sometimes it's total garbage what comes out. Sometimes, I've got a couple improvisations I recorded back on my old digital piano where I still haven't done it, but I really want to turn them into finished pieces of music. It's just going to take a lot of work to take that recorded piece, it's 15 minutes long, and figure out, okay, how the heck do I write this thing down? And work on it as an actual composition. Because in improvising, at least in the classical style, I end up doing a lot of noodling around, trying to, okay, I came up with this one cool thing, I got to do something else here until I figure out something else that's cool. But it is something that I enjoy doing, and I've toyed with the idea of trying to do an improv live on the show. I haven't been brave enough yet to do it.
Try new things. Hashtag try new things.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, copyright, Polly. Hashtag try new things. No, I actually envy your talents, but I also love the fact that you are trying to put out your own stuff and take a risk. And give us the grace of your talent. So
well, thank you.
I really appreciate that.
And it's an honor, to be able to share it. It's just a wonderful experience, especially in this very supportive environment. When I can play an incredibly difficult piece like the Imperial March I did last week, where I would never attempt that thing live in front of a crowd, at least at this point in time.
You just did.
But I did. But I didn't feel like it because I'm sitting here, I'm just staring at a wall over here when I'm playing, if I'm not looking at my music.
Do you know what the difference is between that and doing it in front of a live audience?
A lot of alcohol.
The crap in our head. The crap in our head.
Oh, no, it's totally true. I mean, when I say I've performed choral music, Amanda was talking about being able to see the audience. And, when you're performing choral music, usually you can't. You're in a big concert hall. You got, lights shining at you from over the audience or just over the front of the stage, and you can't really see the audience. It's just sort of dark mass of people out there. They're there, but you can't see individuals really. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. It's like, I know people are listening, I know people are watching, and it's great, but at the same time, I'm also by myself in my living room.
So we did get a question from the crowd. Are you wearing a Mass Effect hoodie?
I am, yes. It is the N7 hoodie. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this sweatshirt. I've had it for years. It's my favorite sweatshirt.
Before the show, I was like, so, it's birthday week. Is that what you're wearing?
Is that what you're wearing? And I said, "Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll change my shirt.
I was
Sure."
like, I look
And then
really
we ended up
nice,
playing. We ended up playing a D&D game all afternoon with friends
Dude,
of
I'm
ours that
in.
ran
Next time.
into the tech check before the show, and I just completely forgot to change shirts. But I think it's after I was done. I walked back out because I watched the show on the TV in our family room, and I walked back out there. I was like, I forgot to change my shirt.
I think there's really nothing more well-rounded than the image of you in a Mass Effect hoodie in front of a big piano with a doll that you created talking about D&D. I think you've rounded the full circle on that. Congratulations.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us
So
kid.
someday, just a side note before we move on, but someday I will have to show you guys pictures of my computer cases that I built for Amanda and myself. My computer case is a 3-foot long sandcrawler model from Star Wars, and Amanda's is a 3-foot tall, or actually 6-foot tall on its table, but a TARDIS from Doctor Who.
Nice.
So model building, creating stuff like this, is just something I've done since I was a kid.
I'm with you, dude. When you said D&D, I've got 20 books upstairs. I'm right there with you.
All right.
And Dari said we should do a
Nice.
D&D night. I don't know if Polio put that on the Vaudacities or
That would
not,
be
but
so much fun.
Yeah. When
I
we
am
have game
so-
night, why can't we do a D&D?
I'm
I'm
so
so
down
in for
for,
this.
a D&D night. Oh
that
my
would
god.
be amazing. That would be amazing. All right. Well, speaking of multi-talented, Mr. Craig Jackman. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Things you may or may not know about this man. He's actually a tremendous producer, as well as a voiceover artist, a absolutely wonderful advocate for all good things in the world, including many great causes that he can certainly talk about, and performs on the show. It's the try new things, the reach, the stretch your abilities kinds of things. So the courage and the bravery of always constantly pushing yourself. And I say that with all the love in my heart, right? Like you push yourself every week, regardless of what it is, and I can't be more impressed. But
Wow.
yeah,
Thank you.
Casey?
It's the love of what we do that does this. It really is. I mean, and the fact that, and I did say it before, it's the fact that, we have this opportunity to stretch ourselves, to literally unfold wings that we haven't even used before. I remember, the first time Paul let me do stand-up in a picnic a couple of years ago, and it was scary as all get out. But he said, "Do it." He encouraged me to do it, and I did it. And it's something that you learn how to do, and I've like all of this other stuff, helping behind the scenes, doing the voiceover, which has been kind of a part of a passion besides the acting for me, and just helping people, and then doing the improv. That was a big giant step as well. So, if anybody has a chance to do something like that, they should take it.
Yep.
You may stumble, but what's the phrase I think one of my mentors had shared with me is like, an expert was a beginner once.
Yep. Yep.
And we were all beginners once, regardless of where we were, how we started, or whatever. But each time, the other phrase that he uses is practice makes permanent.
Yeah.
So the more that we do it, the better we get. And it's just such a pleasure to see everybody, to meet all of our new friends here and be part of this amazing, amazing family. And I get the joy to help when I can, to perform when I can, and just to be here and take it all in.
Well, and you are a great, great human as well. I had a mentor, same kind of thing. I was over at his house, and he had a plumber over. And I'm like, I could never learn how to do that. That's way out of my bounds. I'm a creative. I can't. And he pulls me over, and he's this older, sort of Massachusetts gangster kind of guy with the slick hair and the whole thing. And he goes, "Hey, come here. You see that guy over there? Take a look. You see that butt crack that's coming out of the back of his pants there with his head underneath? You think that guy got a better education than you, or you think he just worked hard?" And he just let it sit in my face right? I mean, here I am. I've gone to college 3 times and all of that, and I assume education equals knowledge. Sometimes it does, but it's what you take in and what you put yourself back out there to do that creates that knowledge. And he said that guy right there worked his ass off, clearly, to get where he is, and that's all it took. So stop with the dumb excuses and go out there and bust your ass.
Just get the phrase "just do it" is so appropriate.
Yep. So speaking of which, just do it, Miss Caitlin, who has already at the beginning of the hour been called out right at the beginning by one of my idols, Miss Wendy Walker. Called out for not only putting yourself out there vulnerably. Vulnerably, is that it? Is that that's okay? I'll go with it. But also, you've done varying things too. You did an operatic. You've done sort of the poppy. You've put yourself out in improv. On and on and on. What was the hardest?
Oh my gosh. What was the hardest? That's really hard questions. That's a good question, Darren.
Sorry.
I say things, and I don't always think about them. Is Hunter providing an instrumental accompaniment for my embarrassment? I'll answer the question the best way that I can. And that I really thought singing from Phantom was going to be the hardest because that's not
easy,
and it's not the vocal style that I typically sing in at all. And it's a part of my voice that I don't access often. But I don't know, tonight was harder than that on a much more sort of visceral level. Because I I'm funny, and I use humor as a tool, but I also sometimes use it as a shield.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a gift, because it's gotten me through really difficult and scary things, and it's also I love making people laugh. It's a really one of the greatest feelings in the world. But doing something like I did tonight, that's tapping into a part of myself that I don't feel super comfortable always sharing, and that there's a fear that I might be, and that's not anything at all what happened tonight, but there's a fear of being judged, or a fear. I'll do anything for a laugh. I don't care about looking like an idiot. But it's scarier to be a person.
Yeah, there's Craig talked about doing stand up, and stand up for me is one of the hardest things to do outside of what you did tonight. Because what you said, there's that armor. And for me, the reason stand up is so hard is, again, it's still you. Right? Unless you're doing a caricature of yourself or you're playing a fictitious thing up on stage, it's still you. You're still asking, please accept this thing that I'm putting out here, as opposed to the theater armor or the humor armor that we shield ourselves behind. And even though you're doing comedy in a stand-up way, it's still your comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a little piece of you that you're putting out there for either recognition, acceptance, or otherwise. So
yeah,
you
don't have the costume, and you don't have the distance. You don't have the physical distance.
Yeah.
being on stage. I think you said it pretty early on about like, oh, people say like I could never perform live, you know. It's easier for somebody like me to perform in front of like thousands of people at a distance than it is to like get get sort of intimate and and um and not have that distance and that safety of musical theater. Because musical theater, you've got 18 layers of costumes and magic and dancing and like
Not you.
Not you.
right.
It's not you. I was
Thank
talking to
you.
Heather quickly about this today, and I was like, we're so good at receiving criticism and like notes because or people can have varying opinions about our performances when you're playing a role because it's not you, it's your portrayal of that role. You know what I mean? And they're entitled to their opinion, and that's cool. But like when it's you, and it's all the opinions, positive and negative, and it's just so much. It's such a different universe of like emotions and mentality. You know what I mean? And I agree with you 1,000%.
The hardest thing that most of our audiences have no insight into that we do is we on a regular basis, and many people call it the business of acting or the business of show business, we audition. And that act of auditioning, you're saying, here's the best of me at this moment. It's not, I know, but that's what that's the BS that we throw in our heads. I can, I'm going to put out the best of me at this moment, and you're going to accept me and love me and let me join your fun gang so that I can be part of the fun group. And when we're younger, it hurts a lot more. Raise a hand if you've never been rejected in your life. Okay, I thought so. Right? And so Paul's like, I've never been rejected. People love me. I saw your life story.
It's not easy being Paul Carganella.
You know what's amazing? Wendy just did this, and on my screen, Paul is directly under her. So it worked out perfectly. That worked out perfectly. So go ahead, Paul.
You want to hear a funny 2-sentence anecdote?
Yes, please.
Tried for 15 years, busted my ass, booked a guest star role on a pilot. My daughter opens her mouth once and is a freaking movie star.
So, again, we talked about this a while ago. Sarah Bareilles nailed it. Compare yourself to where you want to be, and you'll get nowhere. Right? Comparison is the death of joy.
I almost sang that song tonight for you, Darren.
Oh, that'd be so great.
I almost did it. It's Darren and my. Well, is it our favorite Sarah Bareilles song, or is it one? It's one of them.
It's just a great line, yeah.
But
it's just
that
a great
song
line.
specifically. Say it again.
Compare.
Compare where you are to where you want to be, and you'll get nowhere.
Right. Yeah. And, I've been saying for years, comparison's the death of joy. Because what are you doing? Right? Accept where you are and love where you are because it is where you are. If you want to change something, do it. Go for it, Paul.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like I'm comparing myself to my daughter at all.
You are. We know you are, and we're judging you for it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
we all have been.
About Porthos too, though, right? Didn't that happen?
That anecdote where my dog made more than me in 1 week, but that's in a commercial. But no, it's not that. It's not that at all. Like I find so much joy in everything.
Sure.
Any parent knows, like anything your child does, like it's just selfless joy and happiness.
Yep.
But when I hear Paul never failed at anything, bro, I wanted dreams of winning an Oscar, just thinking busting my ass until I had 5 cents on me to buy the next meal so I could get to my next audition, was always we have this romantic idea of what being an artist is and what being a movie star is. And just floundering and waiting tables and waiting for the next call from your agent. And then it's a call for a 16-year-old eating a taco in a Taco Bell commercial, and you're 25 years old, and you're like, what the fuck? Why am I even here?
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of the guy that plays Aquaman? What's his name? The big, awesome hot guy?
Jason Momoa.
And you've heard his story, how he
Momoa.
couldn't feed his children and they were like
Momoa.
homeless. And then and that was when he hadn't gotten his checks for Game of Thrones yet. They didn't start coming in yet. And he was a star, but like the checks weren't like coming through yet. And they like could barely eat. And
So here's a good comparative story, and this is the never give up story kind of thing. Most of you already know one of my friends is Chris Jackson in Hamilton. Okay, he did right out of college. He did The Lion King, just bam, Tony winner, best show, blah blah blah. Right, understudied Simba, and then played Simba for like a year, and then he did a bunch of little things and less little things, and less and less. And at one point, kind of looked around and went, "Is this what I want to do anymore?"
Oh man.
Right.
It's so
and
real.
so my last and for those that don't know, he ended up blowing up again, but that steamroller stopped. And I used to have conversations all the time about the 15-year hiatus that I took and how painful that was. And his conversation with me was, you made a choice to do something in your life for reasons that were important to you and still are. Whatever that choice was. And if you succeeded at doing that choice, you weren't failing at the choice you didn't make. You were succeeding at the choice you did. Right? So my last question to everybody before we close out the 60 minutes that I promised, because I stay on time.
Oh, stop. Promptly.
Oh yeah, let's just rewind the tape to the end of the broken
Oh, it's
thing.
terrible.
We'll see.
Yeah, it was
Staying
terrible.
on time, pal.
It was terrible. I totally blamed myself on later that night. You have to know. Somebody said, "Wow, how did Broken News go so long?" I said, "I may have monologued for like 20 minutes."
It was the longest Scooby-Doo ending of all time.
I had rumors about a Scooby-Doo montage.
There were a lot of
moment.
threads. There were a
Yes.
lot of shoelaces left to be tied.
Yes.
And
he tied all of them, tied them all together.
I had a
Tied
page
them.
and a half of
Brilliant.
notes.
tied them.
It really was. I was sitting there thinking, well, hot dog.
While eating your chocolate cake.
Oh, yeah.
I just got asked by Paul, have we hit Wendy? Wendy was first.
I just said that Caitlin was my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all you got to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, that's not
What?
fair. I'm going to
That's not
definitely just pick on you for the next 5 minutes, and that will be how we close out. Because
Open book. What do you got? What do you want to know?
so we could either and we did talk to Steph. Steph, I talked to you, right?
She's gone.
I mean, you asked a question in the beginning, and then I think I had two sentence anecdotes. So I
So you're good.
I
You're all
did not
good.
that for leading
Okay.
me.
Paul's like kicking my ass so that I go over
No, I
time.
love
That's
you.
really all he's
I'm
doing.
listening and loving
That's
you. And
$5
I
back.
know,
That's what he's doing.
I have
He's
weird,
literally
like,
hit me
food
up.
Face, so I turn off my camera. I'm listening here and loving you, but I don't want to like be like weird eating and drinking wine girl. So I'm just listening.
So Wendy Walker.
Yes.
Wendy
Yes.
Walker, my fan club goddess. You talked actually very openly on one of the shows, and I forget which one because you're brilliant in all of them, but you talked on one of them about devastating rejection and overcoming that.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone was talking about, and I've told the story before and again, but people were talking about when they were younger and someone told them that they were not good, and so they didn't do it ever again. And in my case, yeah, I had family members who would laugh when I would sing or make fun, and so I wouldn't do it. And then my dad was always encouraging and was amazing. But I'm known, I have a theater background, did musical theater for many, many years. But then in the Disney family, I was a DJ, and no one knew that I had a theater background. No one knew that I used to sing. And I wanted to do it again, and I did on the side. I was a DJ, but I would do cocktail sets and sing, and I would have my boys, my amazing, talented sons, play behind me. And one day I wanted a voice lesson. I thought, I'm going to do it. Like, when did I go from I'm a singer to I used to sing?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a friend who has won many Grammys. She's amazing. She came to the house and said, "What are your goals?" And I was like, "Goals? I don't know. I want to sing again." She was like, "Nope, you're going to have a show. You're going to headline a show. I'll be a special guest. We'll get special guests. Let's do it. Like, you're ready." And I thought, "Are you kidding me? Like, what?" And we had friends over and I told that exact story. And I was like, "Oh my God, can you believe, like, she said, like, I could have a show and like I could do this." And this person pulled me aside and they said, "Wendy, no, you're not a singer. You need to stop. You're embarrassing yourself, blah, 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 blah." And it went on. And she even went so far as to say, "I need to hear you say it. I need to hear you say it out loud." And I did. And I said, "Of
That's
course,
like
you're right."
abusive. You
Yeah,
realize
that is
that's
abusive.
abusive, right?
I cried.
That's
I
abusive,
agreed,
I'm
and
so
then I
sorry she
cried.
made you say that, Wendy. That's abusive.
I still got an ass kicking left
Yeah.
in me tonight.
Yeah.
But
And
you know
you
what?
give me
And I'll
names.
back her up like a
But-
mad pit bull.
But I
I'll be off your
talked
shoulder,
to
girl.
the beautiful Ashley Morgan afterward, and Ashley Morgan said, "We don't know where that person's coming from. She might have been saying it to herself. Who knows?"
That's
And
probably accurate.
And who knows? And this is someone who was beautiful and amazing, and I look up to, but it hurt because it was just like, "You're not this," and so I swallowed it. And every year around New Year's Eve, we have a party. I'm sorry, I'm going on and on. I'm
You're
supposed
good.
to
No,
have
it's
two
good.
sentences. We have a party where everyone sings and everyone does everything. And that year, I didn't. I didn't open up my mouth, and I was just very like, no, you, because I'm not a singer, and I'm not. And it took a very long time. And even like Paul will know, he was like, "Hey, do you want to join our thing? And like, maybe you could like do comedy or play ukulele." And I was like, I am not. And it took my kids being like, "What do you mean? Like, we grew up, we were children, and you were on stage and you sang and you did all this, and why are you, what do you mean you're not?" So it literally took you guys for me to courageously try new things and to, I mean, I'm not
And
where
we
I
are better
was.
for it.
And remember, Wendy, it didn't take us. You did it.
Nah,
You did
I
it. You
I
got up.
get by with a little help.
But if it inspires, great. But you still had to strum the ukulele. You still had to put yourself out there. You still chose the songs, and you kill it.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
your show
And
was amazing this week. OMG.
I had so much fun. I was on time. I even looked, the boys were like, "You were 30 seconds over, Mom." And when I looked, the 30 seconds was the after part. So that was my big accomplishment, was being on time, other than all the times I messed up and forgot to thank all Marys right here. I forgot to thank my beautiful sons. But it was so much fun. You can give me a microphone and a script, and I can talk and I can DJ, but who was saying that it's really hard to be intimate? Caitlin,
He was.
1,000 people where you can't see their faces, I'll belt to the moon. And it's especially weird with the Zoom because you can see yourself kind of. So today I kept it down here.
It blows my mind to hear you say all this, Wendy, too, because first of all, you're such a generous person. Like, you're so generous with like your gifts and your love and like your authenticity. And two, or B, I can't remember where I started. Every week, like literally Wendy will be messaging or something. She's like, "I don't know what I'm singing. I just learned this song." And then she comes out, and every week it's like a bam, bam, bam. Like, it's such a professional performance. It's so on point. The song tonight, she's like, "Check out the original." I'm like, I'm sure it's fine, but I've already heard the Wendy Walker version, and that's all I need in my life. Like, every week, and she's playing at the thing, and she's making me hear things in songs that I never heard before, and she's doing things that I wouldn't even think to do with a song. And it's like, so to hear all this to me is just like, I'm shooketh, and I just want to reflect back to you like what we're all seeing and experiencing, because I've decided to speak for everyone. Okay, thank you
She's
so
a
much.
pro.
All the friends I've made, Caitlin and I, like, she messaged me before and then I didn't get to it until later. But like, Mary, like, I met you, but I feel like we're all friends now. Amanda, I feel like you're my very tiny little friend now that I know you're a teeny tiny little
I am a
5-footer.
tiny little person.
Yeah, that's a regular sized chair she's sitting on. But I think it's important that, you know, we talked about the negative and the rejection and the demons in our heads, but I think it's super important that when I came into this, I came in super intimidated, and I am now at the point where every single day I'm inspired, right, by what everybody pushes themselves to do. And so all I want to do is reach when I see somebody else reach. All I want to do is try to lift somebody up if they're having a bad day. And that is what this whole group has been about. It is extraordinary. It is rare. It is a testament to the people that have created this. And, you know, I don't want to say his name because he'll get all cry and stuff. It's terrible. But
You mean Hunter?
yeah, I do. But a toast to all of you. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this experimental thing with me. I thank you. I salute you. I think you guys are brilliant and beautiful and wonderful. Thank you.
Darren, you didn't get to talk enough. I love you. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Oh, thanks.
If you're missing,
Darren,
go back and watch Dylan White's reading.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, well, and look, I will steal a little bit of Paul's time for my own selfish needs, but on Tuesday I am doing a show, and it's the show I wrote. And Mary and Scott have been gracious enough to join me in this show and do parts in this show. But I am again going to be the narrator, so I will again need an ice pack for my mouth when I am done. Hey, just go with it, Paul. Just go. You know you want to.
Where can we find the show?
There is a link on the Facebook, so I'll drop it in the chat later. And unfortunately, it's limited to 100 people to be able to see it.
Already signed up.
Did you? Thank you, Wendy. So if you'd like to see it, great. The next step is to put it on a stage, just like everything else has to get on a stage at some point. Just like all of you wonderful people need to get on a stage, and we need to do like 5-minute slow hugs, starting with the hips.
Feels right.
I'm here for that.
They're the best hugs too. But thank you guys so much. And
Definitely, I'm hugging you with my hips.
And Paul, yeah, I got to give you your $5 back. We went like 6 minutes over. Damn it. So if you guys want to do like something else, we'll kill this one and we'll go somewhere else.
We'll kill this one and we'll go talk till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
That is what we do. Before we go, I got to say thank you, Bob Mallon. Bob, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Splashed in the super chat, just like John Malkovich in Rounders. Or wait, was it Matt Damon in Rounders?
Matt Damon.
Sorry.
Check.
Oh, yeah, I will splash the pot anytime I want.
All you do is check.
Thank you. Hashtag try new things. And that's the thing, right? Try new things. Like what's the point of living another day doing the same old comfortable thing?
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
Do the thing.
Try new things.
Let's do them.
You know.
Give it up for Darren Ingram. This was fun. And for everybody hanging out late tonight. Darren Ingram's After Party.
I had a list of questions I didn't get to, by the way, so we'll do that.
Oh,
next time.
no.
Hey,
Next
does
time.
that ever happen?
Something, right?
What's that?
Something to look forward to.
Oh, well, and I'm going to ask you, like, what's your most cringeworthy moment on stage? And I can't wait to hear your...
Oh, that will take the entire hour.
Oh.
I can't wait. I
That's
really
a
can't
top
wait.
10.
Entire
Definitely
hour.
top 10.
We can keep going. I don't
Both
care.
happened in the
You
same
know.
show.
You know. So, Steph, what's your most cringeworthy moment on stage? Let's just keep going. Anybody can drop off if you want. If you guys are like sleepy, like Caitlin's trying to fall asleep as we talk. But
I mean, there are two awful ones that come to mind immediately. One of which involved me singing the song Let It Go and wearing white fur leg warmers. And my Aunt Flo came to visit in the middle of the song for the
Bring back
executive
Freeze the Night.
presentation in the
Oh,
middle of the
wow.
night at an overnight rehearsal.
Freeze the night.
Yes.
Oh, rehearsal. Okay, good.
Overnight rehearsal for the executives, for like the executive presentation.
Oh,
And I'm wearing light pink ice skater tights and a skirt. I'm wearing a skirt, light pink tights, and white leg warmers, like fur leg warmers, like bunnies. There was like white bunnies on my ankles. And Aunt Flo came a knocking, and I'm singing "Let It Go," and it's like snowing. There are dancers around me. Wendy knows, she was DJing and doing the whole thing.
I'm
And
DJ Chill. I don't
finished
eat.
the song. I'm like, oh my God, I'm living my actual nightmare right now. And I put the mic down. Matt Selby's standing there waiting to talk to me and say, like, good job. I have a note, whatever. Like, Matt Selby's the head of Disney Music now. And so anyway, I ran directly past him. I grabbed Ashley Morgan by the wrist and went, follow me. And I ran backstage. She followed me to the bathroom. And I was like, it's like I murdered a bunny in here. I don't even know what to do.
yeah, to steal a line from Hunter, it's like Watership Down in your ankles. It's not good.
1,000% accurate.
Yeah.
So I took everything off and put my sweats on because that's what I had worn to rehearsal that night. And I put it in the sink because I didn't want the costumers to be mad at me. So I just started dousing everything in water. Ashley's trying to like keep me from crying. It was like, and my actual nightmare. And that's not even the story when I completely ate shit Charlie Brown style downstage center in the middle of Bye Bye Birdie. I was doing Got a Lot of Living to do with this hot guy who's playing Birdie. And I went for the kick and I downstage center spotlight. Charlie Brown did my kick and just Charlie Brown to my buns and my back. And I was Kim McAfee on the floor. I don't know what to tell you. Like, those are the first two that come to my mind. And
That's awesome.
There's
That is-
hundreds more. I'm sure for everybody.
That's amazing. Anybody else have one they want to share?
I've actually got
Wendy.
one.
We'll go with Wendy. She had her hand up. I'm gonna be.
I mean,
night-
I have some cringe-worthy, but they're also like, it's just adorable because they were children in the audience. When I was Audrey and I died, spoiler alert, the plant, I get eaten by the plant, and my little niece was in the front row, and she just said, oh, and Wendy go night-night, 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 and Wendy, like, and I'm dying, like convulsing. And I remember being, oh my God, I was pregnant, but I was on tour with the show Charlotte's Web. Mary, I told you the story. And I was playing Fran, the farmer's daughter, but I'm also pregnant with twins and I'm trying to hide my pregnancy. And it's getting a little like Fran, the farmer's daughter. It's not working. So that they call me into the office and I'm like, here's where I'm fired. And they said, we really enjoy you in the show, but it's starting to be an issue that Fran, the farmer's daughter, is pregnant. So can you be the pig? Can you be,
whoa,
can you be, and I was like, like Wilbur, the pig, the star of the show? Hell yeah. And so then I was Wilbur, and I'm pregnant with twins, and Wilbur in the show has to do lots of tumbling.
What?
So I'm doing I can't do a cartwheel, but I'm doing somersaults, and I'm gradually becoming bigger, and Wilbur goes like on his back, but that's an issue because now it's just like Wilbur's pregnant. And so they call me in the office and they're like, Wendy, we really love your performance. However, and I'm like, I'm fired. No, would you consider being Charlotte, the spider that's pregnant with 200 babies?
That's right.
Title of the show? Hell yeah. So then I just became...
But isn't this the weirdest industry where that's legal?
Yes.
Right?
I mean, it's
So I
just
was
the
Charlotte.
weirdest
You're
weirdest
pregnant.
industry.
Can you play the pig now?
Yeah.
I played the pig, and now I'm Charlotte, who only has like 2 appearances because Charlotte was also the puppeteer of all the farm animals. It was great. But my one appearance is at the beginning or sometime in the show, and I'm like, hello, I'm Charlotte. And a little girl stands up and she just says, beginning of the show, oh, Charlotte, you're going to die.
Oh my goodness.
So my cringe, I mean, I have plenty of cringe-worthy my pants ripped at Mad Tea Party
That was a good one.
once. Only one. I mean, I have so many, but like what came to mind was like children who would just say things that then you just have to go with it. Yes, child, 'tis the circle of life. I am pregnant with 200
Yes, I
babies. Oh, also, when I was Fran the farmer's daughter, I was pregnant, so I was throwing up a lot. And so they just gave me a bucket like a farm girl.
You carried
Because
a vomit
I
bucket
didn't
on stage
know-
with you?
What?
Did you carry a vomit? Are you telling me you carried a vomit bucket with you on stage?
On stage, because I didn't know, like, it would be like, oh, Pa, don't kill the pig. And then I would have to run. And
I better bring my milk pail with me.
exactly, it's
your
like
vomit bucket because
she's the farmer's daughter. She has a pail that she just milked the cows. Also, it's morning sickness because the farmer's daughter. So
Don't want that milk.
Because they learn.
I mean, go ahead.
I have a Charlotte's Web story and a children that involves children.
Tell us.
I was stage managing a children's theater production
Oh my God.
of Charlotte's Web. And I was like up in the booth calling all the cues for the show. So basically like sitting there and make like telling the people in the booth, like for people who might not know who are watching, when to do different light cues and sound cues. And there's like several times where Charlotte and Wilbur like go to sleep and then they wake up and there's like a new spider web situation.
Pig.
Yeah, Charlotte does like a song and she's a thing. And the it's dark and it's just Charlotte and Wilbur on stage, and they forgot to do the next cue. Charlotte forgot to get up to do the next song. So they're just lying there and Wilbur goes, "It was a long night." And then the kids who play the family come in the darkness to see the pig in the darkness. The whole time Charlotte's just chilling. And I'm like, well, do I throw the cue? Do I just put the web up there and be like, Charlotte thought real hard about the web and it just appeared up on the thing? You know, kids are great. But also, sometimes things go awry and they don't know how to cover.
And kids are honest.
Great about covering well, I guess she tried to cover with it was a long night. But anyway, that was the last time I stage managed. And I think it might be forever. And yep, I'm done.
So I have some revenge on children for you. I have a story of revenge on children. Oh, no, this is great. So I was playing the bad guy in a children's show, and I had, Todd, you'll like this, a heckler in a live show.
Nice.
Non-stand-up. This is a stage show with a script and stuff. And this kid was just heckling the crap out of us. Yes! A child was heckling me.
I've had that at Disney.
Oh my God. Like saying like, you're not scary. This is stupid. He doesn't even, I mean, look at him. He's not scary. Whatever. I'm not.
Kick him in the face?
Oh, no. So what happened was I had an exit through the audience right by his seat because he was in house right front. And I knew I had an evil laugh right at the end of my little mini speech that I had to say. So I decided to change the timing of my turn to that laugh at him in his face with no warning.
Yes. Did he poop in his pants?
He peed.
Yeah.
He freaking peed the seat.
Actually peed?
He actually peed the seat. And I got to tell you, you see this pride in me, right? Like I shouldn't be proud of making a child pee, but I'm not. I'm not ashamed of this pride.
Yeah.
This kid really earned that urine, and so did I.
Yeah. I'm glad you did it, Darren.
Okay,
I'm glad you did it.
I wish I had that ability.
I was heckled. I got heckled doing a puppet show.
Wait.
Puppet.
I got one for you. The same thing, and Darren, you saw it, so you know what I'm about to tell you, except it was 6 weeks of it. 6 weeks of getting heckled by every. Okay, I was doing Matilda, and intermission is Mr. Wormwood's song, and then before the song he banters back and forth improv style with kids. And I did pick on Darren and Skylar and the family because that was my only safe space for 6 weeks because I knew I can have fun with them. But some of the kids, I mean, they were attacking me verbally, and I wanted to go to my safe space off stage and cry. I mean, I'm a tough dude. I got to yell at all the kids that were in the show, and it was fun. Except the kids in the audience, I still to this day fear every single one of them and all the mean words that they said to me.
So what happened? Here's a heartwarming moment from that, though. Scott did pick on me and my family, but in the sort of showy way.
Yeah.
And all of you at this point, I think, know who Kalia is and what she's about and all of that. She looked at me after he did that and whispered in my ear, "We're in the cast now. This is awesome."
And then my favorite part of, I think one of my favorite parts of the entire run is afterwards when the whole family was there and I said hi and stuff, and then she came up and gave me a hug, and then Darren's face was like, I'm like, what? We bonded. It's cool.
Hug. She doesn't hug people. She'll hug family, but she doesn't hug people. So this is, it's all good things. This is the magic of theater, right? That's the love of theater.
I had that at Disneyland with doing a storytelling show. We had was like a park ranger, and I'm supposed to be telling these stories with Chip and Dale. They're next to me, and I would say parts of the story, and they would act it out. And this Japanese kid, probably about a 6-year-old Japanese kid, 5-year-old, in the front, and I'm like, okay, let me tell you about the forest or whatever it was, and he's all rah, dinosaur show, T-Rex, rah. It's like that's all he knew of English was like dinosaur show, T-Rex, rah. The whole time we're out there like 20 minutes, the whole entire time, and he's climbing up on the stage, and I'm like, okay, get down, climb, okay, get down, the whole time. And I'm looking out at the audience like, anyone, somebody want to come? And everybody was like, I don't know who that is, not my kid. And so we're like, ugh. So we struggle through it. We leave. We come back half an hour later for the next show. He's still there, and he does it again for the next show. Rawr!
But he loved it, right? He loved it.
Ooh. And we were just like, what is happening? So after the show was over, we followed him, and his mom is just sitting on her phone in some other
mom,
like a mile away, and we're like, seriously, hello. He's ruining our show.
Did it ever bother you that the characters you were supporting also represented a male strip club?
And there were times.
Did it ever bother you?
We tried to throw that joke out there once in a while, and it was like, yeah, this is the place.
Didn't catch. Didn't stick.
I don't think it's gonna fly.
No.
Speaking of Darren, like I've been naked on stage a bunch of times, and there's bound to be mishaps there. So
yeah.
Where the hell was I? When did that happen?
Whoa,
Jeez,
I'm
Wendy.
wide awake now.
Give a girl a little notice. When
it was
was
the
that?
Disney show. No, it wasn't.
Like this
Well, it is
time
after
at
midnight,
stage
so.
17.
No, it was Pageant of the Masters where they paint. I mean, I'm not completely naked. I'm wearing paint. But yeah, something's bound to go wrong when you're naked on stage. I'll save those.
My best kid story that I have. Oh, wait, there is two.
Wait,
but I'll tell
hold
the
on.
best
Before
one
you
that I
go,
think-
Steph, because I got to Google something. I'm kidding.
Oh, you don't want me to talk.
Deleting my MySpace.
Also, I think
Steph
David
didn't
had a
get it.
story like way back.
Steph, I'm talking about. She just said she did a show where she was naked on stage, painted. I'm like, well, let me
and
just.
then you're like, I'm
let
going
me
to go
just
ahead and Google.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pageant of the
Quietly.
Masters. Look it up. It's amazing. Sometimes we're sculptures, and it's like I'm in a pose like this, and it's like up and out, and then other times I'm like this, and I'm like, no, but my belly, and then other times they wheel you around, and I'm naked, painted gold or something, but you're supposed to look down, and as they wheel you.
You can see the audience, and you're like, I know you're looking at my awesome boobs.
No,
Just make
I'm
peace with it.
I'm
Yeah.
eye to eye
Yeah.
with
Oh
someone.
my
in the
gosh.
road.
That's right.
And she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and it's like, and I'm not
See,
going to look
girl.
down, and she's not going to look away, and it's super super awkward.
Patrick and the Masters, they recreate art in 3 dimensions with people.
Yes.
So it's like you have this amazing painting, but most, if not all, of the characters in the painting are actual people, and they hold these poses for like 30 seconds.
90
and
seconds.
This production
Like
is
a minute and a half,
Yeah.
2 minutes.
It's like a minute and a half. Yeah.
And
I've been to the show multiple times. I love
They
it.
are
Very good.
amazing. If you get the
How to See Me
opportunity to
Naked.
go. Yeah.
I might have.
But many years. But my husband does it every year. He was actually cast as George Gershwin. I was super excited. Not naked George Gershwin, just George Gershwin. And then they had to close the show, so hopefully they'll bring it back. But it is an amazing show. But yeah, there's a whole other backstory side of all that. It's amazing, being works of art, but it's weird. Theater.
I've gone to that. Well, I've applied to work there, and on the application it says you're probably going to be naked on stage. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I was a can girl, so I had a costume. It was a Toulouse-Lautrec piece. And then I had to fill in for someone else. That's how it started. And they were like, okay, are you available? You're going to be in front of the Paris Opera House. I was like, excellent. They're like, you're going to be gold. I was like, amazing. You'll be nude. If you say so. Let's do it.
Yeah, I
The
think if they,
sculptures and nude. So
yeah, I mean, Todd, if they ask me that you're going to be nude, are you okay with it? I'm worried that you're not going to be okay with that, just so you know.
But
I don't
but
know.
yeah, me too. But then there was a time where I'm sorry, I'm doing it again. But I was a sculptor, and they were painting me white, which it's not very flattering. But my piece, I wore like a top. It was like a Egyptian something warrior, and she had this like whatever this coconut bra thing that she wore. But
Definitely
when
an
they
after
paint,
midnight show right now. Definitely.
sorry,
an
when
after-
they paint you, they paint children go to this show. It's fine. When they paint you, they don't want to get the costume like paint on it. So I'm naked except
for your boobs.
Right here.
Except for your actual breasts.
This is the only thing that is
That are just
not
like out.
painted. And then you have to walk. Then you're walking
couldn't do
around
it.
backstage, and they give you a towel that's like this big, but you can't hold it up to you because the paint will get on it. So you're
You're
have
just
to,
holding a towel.
It's like a wash,
Like someone's laundry.
and they're
What's the point?
and I'm
happy
everyone else, and there's
birthday,
beautiful.
Mr. President.
There's beautiful people in like gold paint, and there are other people with like costumes and all this, and I'm literally like
Stand here and hold this towel away from my body.
just, and then they put the costume on you, and then by then you're just like,
I'm gonna die now.
I'm a.
Wendy,
But Wendy,
you've
got a rad bod, man. I'm sure like you did everybody a favor that night.
It was years
like,
ago, so it was
honestly.
fine.
Wendy, that is a straight up stand up routine. 100%.
Yeah, it is.
Todd, ask Stephanie
100%.
about the children's parties. That's the
Good. They're just so good. We went for like 30 minutes exchanging these ridiculous stories because we all have them. It's a funny thing. Like we all have these stories of like, and then this kid, like it's just so there's so many.
I like
I have
that.
I have so many Disney stories I can't even count of just ridiculousness.
yeah.
So-
We didn't even do Disney.
Yeah, so that is a great segue to next time we do this, we've got more stories. We won't go around the horn. We're going to go straight into the stories. Just wanted to get some backstory and intros going with some of the peeps. But like I said, I have a whole page full of, hey, I told you cringeworthy, rejection moment, auditioning, things that have created happy tears on or off stage, because I think we all have that, and then maybe guilty pleasure role that you probably shouldn't have had as much fun on. Lots and lots of different things. Why is Hunter so sexy? I think we can all just sort of go around the horn on that one. You know, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome, and thank you. But thank you guys for playing. I do want to do this again. We'll have a lot more back and forth next time. Just kind of sticking our foot in the water and see how this goes. But
Darren.
thank you to everybody for being awesome and amazing. Thank you to Paul for having his dinner at midnight. Have a good night, everybody.
Love you,
Thanks,
Darren.
guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
So do we just sit here awkwardly on the screen?
And stream is over.